UPS came right up to the brink of a strike, which would have been huge, historic, et cetera. But they were actually able to come to a deal. Now, rank and file members still voting on it, but looks like a pretty good deal. And it has a good chance of, I think, getting passed by the Teamsters membership. One of the provisions is those who are full-time at the sort of top of the salary spectrum are going to be making $170K a year. So pretty good salary.
Yeah.
This has some folks really wringing their hands, very concerned about, God forbid, working class person makes, a decent salary and is able to maybe even actually afford a home. Jim Cramer, among those, very concerned about this deal. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
How about the way that UPS stock initially went up on that deal?
Yes.
And then people see that maybe the Teamsters got the best of it.
Although it's a good thing for the U.S. economy that there is not going to be a UPS strike.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because that was very important for the U.S. I do want to know whether Ford is going to talk about whether there's more of an issue with the UAW than Carol Tomei talked about being an issue with Teamsters. Very important to watch that because when you look at the way GM traded, it started going down when Mary Barra, the CEO, glossed over the union issue. That's a big mistake. Sean Fate reminds me of the 1930s UAW, which we don't want.
Which we don't want.
Yes.
We'll get to the UAW in just a minute. But here's some of the details that has caused stir.
People are very upset about this.
Put this up on the screen. I can't imagine being upset about people earning a decent living. But anyway, full-time UPS drivers will earn $170,000 a year on average in new contract, according to the CEO of that company. Salary ranges for full-time and part-time drivers among the details to come out this week. Here's a little bit of a quote from the CEO. She says, when you look at total compensation by the end of the new contract, average UPS full-time driver will make about $170K annually in pay and benefits. And for all part-time employees that are already working at UPS by the end of this contract, they'll be making at least $25.75 per hour while receiving full health care and pension benefits. That part-time piece is really important, Saagar, because a lot of the drivers are actually part-time. So there is a good swath of their workforce that will not be earning this kind of a salary. But, there's a lot to say about this because I find it so interesting. UPS is phenomenally profitable. Okay, they actually are more profitable than FedEx, consistently more profitable than FedEx, even though FedEx has a non-union workforce that does make considerably less than their cohort over at UPS. So in spite of that, UPS has been a well-run company, perhaps because their employees are happier. Perhaps that might be part of why the company is consistently more profitable. So it's not like the company is suffering. I can't imagine begrudging people a decent income and using this just shows you the power of unions.
Yes.
They use their collective power. They elected their new leader, Sean O'Brien, to force a tough deal on UPS after taking years of concession. The last contract was really concessionary. The membership had actually voted it down because they were unhappy with it. Now they're able to use the tight labor market, use a more militant leadership that more accurately reflects the needs of the rank and file, and cut a better deal for themselves. We should all be celebrating.
So here's some data that I can find just to put forward. Last year, 2022, UPS did an annual gross profit of $74.15 billion. UPS annual gross profit for 2021, $71.93 billion. UPS gross profit for 2020, $64 billion. Each one of those was an increase year over year. 2020 and 2021 each respectively showed a 13 and a 12% annual gross profit increase. That's nearly 25% over a 2-year period, under which UPS drivers actually basically made the entire economy run.
Yeah.
These people delivered goods to people who were working from home. They were essential workers. They worked in bad conditions. On average, these people are walking like miles and miles per day. You should go look at the Fitbit data for some people who drive full-time for UPS. No joke. You need some actual physical requirements. Actually sit and have a conversation with your UPS driver if they have the ability.
They don't have the time.
Yeah, they don't have the time. Driving the trucks is also no joke as well. I didn't know this. Apparently, they're not allowed to turn left because it stops the amount, it uses too much fuel. So they have custom driving routes that cause them to drive inconveniently, which are all about fuel compensation, which saves them billions of dollars per year. So everything is right turns for the UPS truck. Obviously, they have
crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of wild. I had no idea. They have a custom software, apparently, that does it. Saves them a lot of money. But it's no joke. You're driving sometimes 10, 12 hours a day. The time when everybody else is off is whenever you're the most on. Christmas Eve, all of that, that's game time. That's the time when you got to work even more than everybody else. So the hours are no picnic. That's why you get paid money. But it also comes back to more of a philosophical conversation. I don't really know why people are so angry about this. I've seen all these memes been posted online, but it's like UPS drivers after 5 years driving a Lamborghini. I'm like, okay, hold on a second. I live here in Washington, D.C. I know plenty of people who make 170, and they make a hell of a lot more than 170 grand a year. These people can't even afford to buy a house. So what are you talking about? These people are driving Toyota Camrys. I mean, it's like, now sure, we live in one of the top 5 most expensive cities in the country, so it's not like Peoria, Illinois or something like that. No offense, Peoria, I'm just pulling it out. It's not a normal middle-class place. But if you look at the median home price on average across the country, specifically in what the top 10 metro areas where a lot of these people are have to work or nearby, we're talking about $500,000. We're looking at major interest rates. We're also, last time I checked, you want to be able to raise a family. I personally would love to live in a society where people can raise a family on an income of 1. These people work incredibly hard.
Yeah.
I don't see why they shouldn't have this. There just seems to be this philosophical anger at this. And I've seen it a lot amongst white-collar workers as well. And I think it's because what it comes down to is the pandemic was a sorting mechanism. We found out what's really valuable and what's not. So a lot of tech workers who were making the same money to become like a product marketer or whatever got fired, and they're pissed off. The people who work on their feet with their hands and all that are making so much. So it doesn't bother me at all. And in fact, I think the economy should look a lot more like this than not less.
Men.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want an economy where people might be able to afford to have a house, might be able to afford to have a family? That's what we're supposed to all be aiming for here. And I really do think it reveals just a level of sneering contempt for working class people.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can really attribute it to, because no one blinks an eye at someone, sitting in an air-conditioned office looking at a computer screen making this kind of money. That's fine. And it is fine. You know what? It is fine. But guess what? These people work so hard. I challenge you to spend a day in these guys' shoes trying to run these routes and deliver these packages in the heat and in everything else, every other condition. This is a brutal job. I've known people who do this job. I know the training they go through. I know how long it takes for them to be able to get to this position of being a full-time driver. I know how difficult it is on their bodies to do this kind of work day in and day out. So yeah, 170K all day long. I am 100% happy. I would like to see many more working class or service sector jobs that are essential to this country, that make this whole thing work, earn a decent standard of living. By the way, there's also a lot of commentary about, the labor market's so tight and we can't find workers and we're having trouble, we're short-staffed, et cetera. They're not gonna be having that trouble at UPS. Put this Axios report up on the screen. 50% increase in job searches with the key terms UPS or United Parcel Service in the week following the deal's announcement. UPS jobs, Axios says, are hot after union deal wins major pay bump. So they're gonna be able to get the cream of the crop. They're going to be able to have their pick. And by the way, part of why this deal is so important, what do you think FedEx is going to have to do?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to there is a huge gulf between, I think I was seeing FedEx workers make more like $18 an hour. This is off the top of my head. I could be wrong, but I know there's a huge gulf between what UPS workers are making and what FedEx workers are making. So if they want their drivers to be, top notch, if they want to be able to fill out their workforce, they are going to have to up their compensation and compete. And that's, at a different time in America when you had larger union density. Even shops that were non-unionized, those workers also benefited from what the union workers were able to negotiate because their employers also had to compete. So I am 100% here for it.
And look, the company's still profitable. The main reason people hate this deal is because Wall Street doesn't like it, because the gross profit is going to go down. But here's the thing. These people have plenty of money. UPS is paying a 3.3% annual dividend on the stock. They're paying out billions. It's traders who want to be able to squeeze and up that dividend. They want to juice the gross profit, and they want to be able to pay out even more and possibly even have UPS do its own stock buybacks rather than pay it out to the employees. And the employees did what they should be doing. We have a wildly profitable business doing year over year billions of dollars in annual gross profit, and the vast majority of that value is going to the company executives and to the stockholders. Why should it not go to the drivers whenever they have the ability to make that concession? So I think a lot of the like freak out over this is really bad faith. And, I think about this all the time. It's like, hey, if you want to go and do something that has real value, then do it. Nothing is stopping you.
Yeah.
A lot of this is just anger from the fact that it's like, yeah, you did what you were supposed to do. You went to college, you got your white collar job, you got a lot of student debt, and you're not getting paid what you think is fair. And I sympathize with that. I really do, because society told you that the UPS guy's a loser and that you're not. But you know what? Sorry, reality has a way of catching up to people. So if you want to go make 170 grand, not a single thing is stopping you from being able to lift 70 pounds and walk 10 miles a day and only turn right. Yeah, exactly. You can apply next time, or you can go create your own business. You could try and do something. You can see something that the market generally does have some value for. So yeah, I think that a lot of this is just outrageous.
Yeah.
Some of the way that people are, they're trying to make them feel bad for like bargaining for a good wage. When you look at the situation, you're like, this is clear as day. It's not going to hurt the company at all.
There's an element too of white collar workers who do earn this kind of salary, 170, 200, whatever, who don't want to see the UPS guy be in the same class as they are.
I think you're right.
And who, don't think they quote unquote deserve to have the decent life that they are very happy to enjoy. The last thing that I would say is, unfortunately, 170K, it is a good salary. It doesn't go nearly as far as it should, given the price of housing. This is astonishing. We're going to cover this in a separate segment, probably to drop on the weekend. Just put this up on the screen from Bloomberg. 16% of Californians can afford to buy a home in the state. You know why? You have to earn $208,000 just to be able to qualify for a 30-year mortgage. So like your standard issue mortgage, you got to be earning $208,000. So even in the UPS drivers doing well, 170K in California, still probably can't afford a house. And that's a big part of the story of why, the middle class has just been decimated in this country, and why it is so, so difficult, no matter what you're doing, to be able to get your foot on that ladder of financial security. Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.